All right, Game 7, NBA Finals. I mean, it really doesn't get much bigger than this, does it?
No, it absolutely doesn't. A total winner-take-all, kind of like March Madness, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. And it's all happening this Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern on ABC. The whole basketball world will be watching.
Yeah, and it's incredible how we even got here. You've got the Indiana Pacers who, let's be honest, were facing pretty long odds,
Right.
and they pull off this huge 108-91 win over OKC in Game 6 at home, Gainbridge Fieldhouse. That wasn't just squeaking by.
No, that was a statement. Forced this Game 7.
Totally.
So for this deep dive, we've been looking at Sean Powell's piece on NBA.com, updated just yesterday. And our mission really is to break down how the Pacers, as he put it, sprinted past the Thunder.
Yeah, what did that really mean for the championship picture?
Exactly. We want you to walk away with a really clear sense of the key moments, the surprising stuff that led us here.
And Powell's article paints such a great picture. He talks about the Pacers going into Game 6, maybe, one step toward vacation. But by the end, one step toward salvation. And that line, rallying, is what they do.
It feels like their whole identity this season.
It really does. It speaks to this, mental toughness. It's not just talent out there. It's something deeper, resilience.
You definitely felt that resilience in the final score. I mean, 108-91, that's a rout.
It is.
And like you said, defying the odds, what everyone was thinking, even Tyrese Haliburton playing through that throbbing calf.
Yeah, the calf situation was huge. And now they force Game 7.
But Game 7 is on the road.
Mm-hmm. Tough environment. Against a team, OKC, that won 68 games this year.
And facing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the MVP. It's a tall order.
A very tall order. But Powell's article points out something really interesting. The Pacers have a chance.
Just a chance. But it's there.
It implies there's something more going on than just, stats and home court.
And you really hear that focus in what Haliburton said. Quote, "We've got one game. It's nothing that's happened before matters, and nothing that's going to happen after matters."
That's laser focus. Seriously. What does that actually look like for a player on the court? Especially when you're hurt, like with that calf.
Well, that's a perfect lead-in to our first big takeaway.
Yeah.
Haliburton himself. His perseverance, his performance.
Yeah.
I mean, deciding to even play with that throbbing calf strain, that was a gamble. Huge gamble. Season on the line.
What was his thinking there?
He basically said, I'd beat myself up if I didn't give it a chance. Simple as that. Shows his leadership, right?
Yeah.
Willing to push through.
And he didn't just play, he played well. 14 points, 5 assists. His usual playmaking self.
Solid numbers. But the key thing, the surprising thing maybe.
His self.
Exactly. The article says, no issues, nothing that caused a limp, no reason to reach down and give that calf a massage, no dire medical attention afterward.
Wow. That's massive, not just physically, but mentally for the team, too, heading into Game 7.
Oh, absolutely. And, the game being a blowout kind of helped.
Oh, so?
Well, he only played 23 minutes. He was basically watching from the bench for a lot of the second half. Smart. So that gives him 2 full days of rest before Sunday. Crucial.
Super crucial. And you could tell his motivation was just being out there. He said, I just wanted to be out there with my brothers to compete. Speaks volumes about that team's bond.
Speaking of competing together, let's get to the second key insight. Powell calls it the signature play.
Right. Usually in a blowout, you don't pinpoint one play, but this one.
This one felt different. It happened just before halftime. Jalen Williams throws a pass. It gets deflected.
Haliburton scoops it up. And then Powell says he walked the tightrope along the sideline to save it. Amazing agility there.
You could feel the crowd just holding its breath, right?
Totally. And then what happens next? Pure magic. Haliburton sprints down the court.
That's break.
And throws this incredible, no-look pass behind him to Pascal Siakam, who was trailing.
Oh, I remember that.
And Siakam.
Siakam just explodes for what Powell called a facial dunk right over Jalen Williams.
Ooh, that wasn't just 2 points. That felt like a lightning strike in the building. It really did. An exclamation point. Physical, emotional, everything.
Siakam said he was just trying to bring the crowd into the game. Understatement, maybe?
Maybe a little. But for the Pacers, how big was that play? Especially with Haliburton's health still sort of a question mark then.
Yeah, good point.
The article nails it. It revealed his health and mobility and sent the Pacers into the locker room with a shot of confidence and swagger.
And Siakam had a great game overall, too. 16 points, 13 boards, 3 assists.
Yeah.
Really solid.
Absolutely. Which, leads us kind of nicely into the third takeaway. It's something we've seen from the Pacers a lot this postseason.
Let me guess. The bench.
You got it. Their bench delivered crucial energy. Again, Powell says the common trend continued, reserves rescuing the winner.
And this time it was T.J. McConnell, Obi Toppin, Ben Shepherd. They just outplayed OKC's reserves.
Massively. McConnell, the article says, had his best of the series.
The stats back that up. 12 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals. Wow.
He was everywhere.
Yeah.
Causing turnovers, hitting those mid-range jumpers.
Yeah.
Just giving them such a boost.
And you remember Game 4, right? When Carlisle benched him inexplicably.
Oh, yeah. That felt like a turning point against them then. Huge contrast to Game 6.
McConnell even said afterwards, I think we played to exhaustion. That's the effort level you need.
Exactly what you need in an elimination game. And then you had Obi Toppin.
He led the team in scoring. 20 points.
Yep, with 4 threes. OKC just kept leaving him open, and he made them pay.
Punished them for it. And don't forget Ben Shepherd.
Ah, the silencer. That three-pointer right at the third quarter buzzer.
Just dagger. Put him up by 30. Game pretty much over at that point, psychologically anyway.
Totally broke OKC's spirit, if it wasn't broken already.
And you feel that collective energy from the bench. McConnell summed it up perfectly, looking ahead to Game 7.
What do you say?
We were going home if we didn't come out and give everything we have and leave it all out on the floor. We have another opportunity to do that on Sunday.
That's it. That's the desperation, the understanding of what's at stake. Powerful stuff.
Which brings us, maybe inevitably, to the other side of the coin. Our fourth takeaway.
Oklahoma City's lack of killer instinct in Game 6.
Yeah. I mean, closing out a team on the road is hard. We know that.
Always tough.
But Powell states the obvious truth. OKC weren't the more desperate team.
And
that's worrying if you're them.
Very worrying. They just didn't have that edge, did they? The article mentions getting beaten to loose balls, rebounds, all the hustle plays. Couldn't match Indy's urgency.
It sounds like maybe their worst game of the whole series. Powell called it a night when nothing sparkled.
Ouch. And the stats, they tell the story.
Tell me.
Okay, get this. 21 turnovers for OKC. 21.
Whoa.
And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the MVP, had 8 of those himself. That's really unusual for him. Very mistake-prone.
8 turnovers. Wow. What else?
They missed 10 of their first 11 three-pointers, just couldn't buy a bucket early, and they only led the game once. Once.
That's bad. That points to more than just an off-shooting night.
Yeah.
Focus, execution.
Right. Even the start struggled. SGA had his lowest score of the series, 21 points. Jalen Williams, who dropped 40 earlier.
Yeah.
Just 16 points in Game 6, a big drop-off.
So what are the Thunder saying? Their coach, their players.
Coach Daniel didn't mince words, called it a very poor performance. Straight up.
Okay.
Chet Holmgren had a good reflection, too. Said, no team's just going to roll over and go home. You have to make it happen. It's not going to happen by accident.
Yeah.
Acknowledging they didn't bring it.
And SGA, the MVP.
His take was interesting. Said, I don't feel like I have to do anything other than just be the best version of myself.
So not try and do more, just be better. Maybe that's the key for him.
Could be. Which leads us to the fifth and final takeaway. It involves looking back, specifically at Game 4.
The one that got away for Indiana.
Exactly. Powell poses that big what-if question. Where would this series be if the Pacers managed to hold a lead and close out Game 4?
The answer. Well, it'd be champions right now.
Yeah.
Man, that's got a sting for Pacers fans. It shows how thin the margins are at this level.
So thin. Remember, they were up 4 with just over 3 minutes left in that game.
I do. And even after SGA went absolutely nuts, scored 15 points in the last few minutes.
Unbelievable performance by him then.
Even after all that, Indiana only trailed by 1 point with 2 minutes to go. It was right there.
It was. And the article talks about how the Pacers usually had this secret sauce all postseason. They were unshakable, prayed D, relied on Haliburton, got those signature wins against Milwaukee, Cleveland, New York.
But not in Game 4.
Yeah.
That was the one where it slipped. SGA was just too good, and Indy made some uncharacteristic errors.
Yeah, it was a deviation from how they'd been closing games. And that's where OKC, as Powell puts it, dodged a setback.
Tied the series 2-2, set the stage for Game 6, and now Game 7.
Exactly. But, despite that Game 4 loss, Haliburton's mindset now seems completely forward-looking.
Back to his Game 7 focus.
Yeah. He talked about how, as a basketball fan, there's nothing like a Game 7 in the NBA Finals. Pure excitement.
True.
But for the team, it's back to what happened in the past doesn't matter. What happened today doesn't matter. It's all about one game and approaching that the right way, just cutting out all the noise.
Stripping it all down.
And that's what makes Sunday so incredibly compelling, doesn't it? A rare Game 7 in the finals, first one in 9 years.
Winner take all. Everything we've talked about, Haliburton's health, the bench, OKC's mindset, that killer instinct. It all gets tested now.
The ultimate test.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So thinking about everything we've just unpacked, the individual stuff, the team dynamics, that whole killer instinct idea,
Yeah.
what's the one thing, like the subtle adjustment, psychological or strategic, that you think will be the absolute key for either the Thunder or the Pacers to actually clinch this thing on Sunday?
That's a great question to leave folks with. What's that one tiny edge going to be?
Something to definitely chew on until tip-off.